will be vaporizing contaminants from the surface. So you have a painted surface, you start welding there, it will vaporize off all of the paint, and you'll be breathing that. So be aware that you should remove any kind of paint. This in particular, this is a piece of galvanized steel from a chimney flue. This sort of thing, if you weld on this, it will vaporize off the zinc that is on the surface, and that zinc is extremely bad for your health. They say you should not ever weld anything like this. It's not even an exposure limit, like that's too much for this day. You should never weld anything with zinc plating on it. It is very bad for your health. It can go into your lungs and it can basically cause crippling injury later in life.
Right, so if there's going to be zinc on a product that you're welding, you're going to put that zinc on after.
Yes, and if it already exists, you need to remove a copious amount of it with a wire brush and a proper gas mask.
Yeah, usually it's already on if you're welding.
Yeah.
So you have to remove it before you do the welding.
Okay.
Yes, please remove all of it. Actually, not please. You must remove all of it within several inches of where you're welding. So like say you're only doing a little weld right here, you would want to take off like 3 inches on both sides and both handles, so the front and the back. You want to make sure there's no zinc to be vaporized. Very important. Any questions?
Would that be galvanized steel, galvanized aluminum, or how would we tell what materials are dangerous to weld?
They're shiny in particular. That shiny material, you can see the galvanizing on it. If you're concerned that it has galvanizing, try scraping it off with a wire brush. If it does come off, then you should remove it. Any kind of coating. Regular steel is dull in color, usually, unless it's been machined. So, not many things I'd imagine you'll be welding that are machined. So, if it's shiny, I would probably be considering if it's coated. Paint, especially. If you have paint or even lead-based paint, like an old car you're welding on, oh man. Vaporous lead. Bad deal.
Nice.
Okay? Any questions about those things? Any questions at all about the other types of welding so far? Okay, the last thing I'm going to show you is an example, an ideal weld. So, you can see here, this is it's called a butt weld. That's 2 pieces, put end to end, and then weld across their surface, okay? This here is a T-weld. That's where you have this sort of setup, and you're welding in the little fillet there, okay? A butt weld, you see, it should be uniform in thickness. So to get a uniform weld, you should be going at a uniform speed across its surface. Okay? It's also quite flat. It doesn't have a very raised, like a bead of toothpaste. It shouldn't look like a bead of toothpaste squirted across the surface. It should be flat and have a nice smooth transition from the plate. The bead plate should just be a nice smooth ball. Now, a smooth lump. If you have a rather large, like toothpaste-like, big rounded out part of a weld just laying on the surface, it's because you didn't heat the 2 base materials enough to make it flow down. Okay? So that's kind of where we're at. Also, it looks kind of like a stack of dimes, if you ever heard of that. So you're doing a slight, very slow forward, stop, forward, stop, forward, stop makes this pattern. And it penetrates deeper. That's why they do it. It makes it stronger. So, okay? So that concludes the presentation that I have here. And now I can show you guys a quick demo on the bandsaw, and we'll move into the welding room and take a look at all these pieces, all these pieces of equipment. So, hello Nancy. Are you here for the class?
Yeah. I was trying